Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, Chapter 85. When we last left our heroes, Lucy has now officially defeated Mimi, and so we move on to Gray versus Hakune, as both of them are very easily able to, counter the other's attacks. There's a lot of back and forth, and none of them can do damage to the other, until Hakune puts, Gray in her attack, the Mugen Setsugeka, it's called. And so, what that ends up doing is that Gray is in this fantasy world where everyone he loves is alive, including Silver, Elentir, or... Elentir is alive, and I'm kind of unsure if Gray ever learned that. And he has had Grayish with Juvia, and they're married. Anyway, Gray kind of acknowledges that this world is a lie. He breaks free and continues the fight anew. So let's jump right on into Chapter 85, Ice Giants. And our picture here is of what looks like a slightly older Wendy. In this sort of, it kind of gives off like an ancient Greece vibe, dress. Did you drop normal happy or the golden happy? And that's a reference to a folk tale, I'm assuming it's a Japanese folk tale, of someone drops some kind of item in a pond, and the fairy of the pond comes out and offers the normal or the golden version. I'm not quite sure what that has to do with Wendy, beyond just being a nice, image, I guess. Anyway, let's jump right on in. As we open where we left off, with Hakune kind of shocked that Gray escaped her attack. As Gray just stares her down, and Hakune is getting angrier and angrier. Damn you! Diamond Titan! And she forms this giant out of ice. I guess that's our title, Ice Giants. Sort of Cyclops. They got these two teeth sticking out from under, sort of lopsided horns. It's an interesting aesthetic it's got going on. And Gray readies his own attack. So you think you can beat me at Maker Magic, do ya? Ice Make, Heavy Knights, and he summons a battalion of medieval knights. Shocking Hakune. What? And the knights storm her Titan as Hakune in shock. So much ice modeling in an instant, and the knights, skewer the Titan. As back in the Whiteout Village, the Elder is shocked. What are those? And Ferris adds in Ice Giants. Wendy notes that's Gray's magic. And Happy's a little bit stunned there. Who'd have thunk he can make all of that? And Carla just grins. That's Natsu's rival for you. And then we look back at Natsu, who's still unconscious, in case you were wondering. And Carla just confidently says, of course he'd be this strong. And Toka watches, also stunned. Amazing. And the Elder kind of pouts. You trying to wreck the village? Still a hunk, though. She's got her priorities in order. Anyway, Gray shouts, "Rah!" And the knights continue to kind of fight back against the Titan. Hakune notes, he's pushing me back. And then it looks like the Titan gives. And it starts to shatter into a million pieces the knights have won. So you get this full-page panel as the Titan shatters and the knights run him through. Which is a nice look. The damage is also apparently done to Hakune, or maybe the knights attack Hakune next. And I think that might be it. Because we see Gray kind of standing triumphant. Hakune hits the ground. We cut back to Mimi and Lucy. Mimi's still unconscious, but standing, and Lucy just lying there, victorious but fallen, and winning. As the whiteout priestesses cheer, they're beaten! Hooray! So yeah, I think that's it for Hakune. Which, is a good ending there. It's sort of... I think it's a little bit weird that the last chapter made such a big deal that they could just cancel out each other's attacks, and then that's not really used in the finale. But I think the fight was basically won when the fantasy didn't work. We just sort of needed to have that be shown in that, thematically, Gray won when he broke free of Mugen Setsugeka. He just had to, physically win somehow, and that's kind of what we get here, I guess. Anyway, and Ferris looks on in, shock, and, awe and joy. Fairy Tail truly is incredible. But then a rumbling starts happening, as Toka turns to the Elder. And the Elder panics. Oh no! And Gray also kind of notes the new energy in the air as the Elder announces, Elentir's magic power is swelling! Huh? And the Elder kind of starts to cry. So not even Suzaku-sama could best Selene? So I guess Suzaku lost while we were dealing with all this. Carla turns to Ferris. Can't you do something? It's your job to erase magic power, isn't it? But Ferris tells her, as long as Selene is here, it's impossible. And the Elder kind of explains, for generations, we have devoted ourselves to harmonizing the magic of this world by whiting out the excess magic power, erasing it. However, because Selene wanders through space and time, far more magic power has accumulated in this world. Okay, so I think what she's getting at is that the problem with Selene is that she has this magic power from all these other dimensions that she's been to over the years. And that's just too much magic for the whiteout priestesses to sort of counter. If it were just Elentir, they could do something, but not at this point. Happy asks, why would she do something like that? And the Elder can only say, for what purpose I do not know. However, if things remain like this, Elentir will certainly perish. The world will cease to exist due to a major explosion caused by the expansion of magical power. Well, that's not good. Okay. I guess we're kind of rushing headlong into... this feels like all of a sudden we're in the climax of the Selene arc. Which I guess makes sense, given that all of her lieutenants are dead, or defeated. And now it's kind of just Selene they have to worry about. Anyway, all of a sudden a hand erupts from the ground. It's no longer just a wave, it's now appearing from solid ground. And one of the priestesses reacts, a hand? Here of all places? And a monk then responds, this is bad, it's going to summon Sumeaka. And another priestess, look over there. And Wendy looks up in shock as 4 more hands rise from the ground. And we just see hands all over the mountain range. We come to a certain town in Elentir, which is our first actual taste of, Elentirian culture. Beyond this one, religious village. And we see townspeople running away from the onslaught of hands on a plantation in Elentir. The same thing on the southwestern coast, which I don't quite know where that is in regards to where we are. But the hands are just, causing havoc all over the world. As the Elder kind of panics, there are so many hands. And the priestesses are all just, in shock. It's all over. The world is ending. And Wendy is just standing there. I don't know what she can do right now. Because Wendy is, clearly the most healthy Fairy Tail member left right now. Lucy can barely stand. Gray can stand, but he's still kind of worn out from fighting Hakune. Natsu and Erza are still unconscious after their clashes with Suzaku. But Wendy needs to kind of focus on saving Natsu and Erza. So I don't know if she can just, leave them be for a little bit while she goes to save the world. And Toka tells Ferris, let us escape to another world using Aqua Era. That's a little heartless, Toka. You're just gonna let everyone die? And Ferris, kind of on the right track there. How many people could you possibly take? And Wendy gets to what I almost called out earlier, but I didn't really say. This scene feels familiar. And she flashes back to Tartaros and the face incident and the overwhelming number of faces that emerged after she destroyed that first one. And she just panics. Earthland's face? Face was a council weapon that could erase all magic power. There are many hands as a symbol of magical expansion. Oh, is she getting at there's the connection here? Though they're almost acting as opposites. Face gets rid of magic and hands are the extension of magic. Expansion, she says. And then Wendy thinks, does that have something to do with this? But we see Toka tries to escape. It's no use. I can't use Aqua Era. The magic is expanding too much. It's tightening space itself. Okay, so maybe Wendy's on the right track there. that somehow the expansion of magic and the tightening of space is doing the same thing that Face did, or Face would have done had it gone off, had the dragons not stepped in. Maybe. I don't know what she's going to get at, though. They don't have a dragon to come in and destroy the hands, especially because the hands aren't actually doing things. It was the Face that did things. The hands are just kind of representations of things, I guess. Anyway, the elder is just screaming now, "Please, God, great nobles, grand white priestess, save us!" And Gray, who has come back in with Lucy, snaps at her. "That last one is you. Calm down." And the elder is just crying, like rivers of tears. "How can I be calm? The world is going to disappear." And suddenly someone slams their fist down. I'm guessing Natsu's awake. That's a Natsu move. As everyone looks back, my initial instinct was Wendy, but I saw Wendy in that next panel looking shocked already. Wendy and Ferris and the Exceeds, and Gray and Lucy and the Elder. And yep, Natsu's awake. We're not gonna let that happen. Erza's awake as well. Wendy has finished her healing just in the nick of time. All will be well if Selene is defeated, correct? And Natsu and Erza, ready for their fight. We're gonna stop her. And here we go. I mean, look, I love Fairy Tail. I love these characters, and I'm so excited to watch them I just want a great fight. There's just something about the way Majima sets up these fights that like always puts a grin on my face. Back in the original series, I don't know if I ever said it in a video on here, but I had a kind of like maxim that Majima could disappoint me for 100 straight fights, and I would still be excited for the 101st. Because say what you want about the man, he understands setup. He is damn good at setup. And this scene here is pure setup, and it is hype as fuck. We see Gray and Lucy with like an exhausted smile. Happy and Carla excited that they're back in the fight. Wendy relieved that she succeeded in saving them. The whiteout team sort of relieved that there is some hope. And then we come back to Black Moon Mountain with Selene, who just smiles as like smoke evaporates from her. The time has come. This world will distort and be forgotten in time. It's been fun, swordsman of Kornugis. And Suzaku is not dead yet. He's still around. He is not lost. As he says, "Nay, I am Suzaku. Thou art my prey." And we see him kind of exhausted. He's bloodied. He's definitely losing here. He's like dirt all over him, bloodied. We see Selene on the next panel. She's got the slightest cut on her cheek, but beyond that, she looks pristine. Like, she's not losing this fight. And yet she still says, "It is not bad to be defeated by Kornugi's sword. That is another distortion. To be continued." There's an interesting line there, and I'm questioning if... I'm trying to think if there's a similar... I'm curious if that's a mistranslation. Because she's winning. She is clearly winning this fight. Suzaku is, like, barely standing, out of breath, bloodied. Selene has a single cut on her. And she's... there's no dirt or anything, no other blood. She's doing fine. And yet she says it is not bad to be defeated by Kornugi's sword. As if she's predicting her own defeat there. And saying, hey, if I lose here, that's a fine way to go. But that doesn't quite match the situation. She's winning. She is winning. And so I'm curious what she means. If it's a translation error, which is possible, I guess. But then there's also that is another distortion. So maybe... did she lose? And then... like, there's that bit the Elder has about Selene traveling through space and time. And we've seen space. She can warp to other dimensions pretty easily. But that's the first I've heard of time. I mean, it would work with, like, the moon goddess theme. I've been rereading the Kane Chronicles, the Egyptian mythology Rick Riordan series. And I just got to the scene where, like, they have to gamble with the moon god for extra time. And so there is that sort of historical sense of the moon being tied to time. It would fit with Selene's powers and her element. So I'm curious if that's what's going on here. Like, did Suzaku slay her? And then she somehow distorted time with her, like, last breath to get to this point where Suzaku is already beaten. Maybe they both severely injured each other, and then she rewound her own personal time, so she's still early in the fight. Especially because that "Nay, I am Suzaku, thou art my prey" doesn't quite seem to be in conversation with that Swordsman of Cornugi's. I'm questioning if that's a previous scene. If it were, I think it'd be at 81. Maybe I can do a quick look through there, see if I can find the line. I'm trying to do it really fast so I don't bore y'all. I'm trying to find the bit where he mentions being Cornugi, where he would respond to... Yeah, so here on page 10 is where the cut happens. Cornugi, you say, but he is, I slew him. Cornugi was devoured by me. Humans don't know their place. I can't... No, the line isn't there. I thought for a second maybe the line would have been in there. Nay, I am Suzaku, thou art my prey. Maybe that was the end of 80. Possibly. I'm gonna check this one more thing, then I'm gonna shut up and, like, focus. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think... For a second there, like, that sounds like something he would have said early, like, at the beginning of their fight, introducing himself and saying, thou art my prey, but I can't find it. So no, I might be on the wrong track there. Possibly. Either way, let's talk about the rest of the chapter. I spent so much time zeroing in on that last page. I didn't talk about the rest of it, which is simultaneously the end of the Hakune fight, which, like I kind of alluded to, feels kind of superfluous. I would accept the argument that Gray won in, like, a thematic sense last time, breaking free of the illusion. You know, Hakune's powers have always kind of been tied up to illusions. The rest of it is just sort of garden variety ice shit. And so I think the main, like, Gray's victory was breaking free of the dream world. And then this is just, you know, he won on a thematic, on a character level, but now he has to, like, actually physically win, so let's just speed things up, let's get to the climax of the arc. And then the apocalypse comes in, and it is really cool. Just seeing, like, the images of hands kind of rising from the earth, like Wendy calls up, it's very face adjacent. And the reason I didn't bring it up earlier is because I thought that was just, like, a weird coincidence. Like, oh, Mashima keeps bringing in body parts raising from the ground. It only becomes interesting when Wendy starts wondering if a similar thing to face is happening here. And there's some hints of that. Aqua Era stops working. Thanks to the hands. Or it's technically, I think, thanks to the expansion of magic power that is creating the hands. But there's a direct connection Mashima is drawing there that I think he wouldn't make that kind of a connection without intention. Mashima does a lot of things without intention, but a connection like that there's an intent there that he's getting at for how this whole arc will wrap up. And while I'm very excited for a big Slay the Dragon fight with Natsu and Erza, I do hope Wendy's ruminations here have something to do with the arc's climax. Especially if magic isn't really working. Like, maybe it's just Aqua Era and its cutting through space is sort of affected by the tightening of space Toka talks about. Maybe. But, like... So like, maybe Natsu and Erza will still be able to fight, but maybe they won't, if that's affecting all magic. Though... Because, like, Suzaku, we don't really see doing any attacks. Like, we don't know where this scene is, how long after the expansion of magic we see in the middle of the chapter is that final confrontation, or that final scene with Suzaku and Selene. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting shit here, and I really want to see how it all plays out. So yeah, with that, really, it does feel kind of sudden. We're all just now... running headfirst into the climax of the Selene arc. And I'm all here for it. Natsu and Erza will be joining the fight soon. I imagine Suzaku will be down very shortly. He's not going to win that fight. Even just looking at the two of them, he's basically dead already. So it's going to be Natsu and Erza tag teaming versus Selene. And, like, when's the last time we had a Natsu-Erza tag team fight? Just that alone gets me hyped up. Against Selene, a villain whose powers we don't quite understand yet, especially if they're related to time. I don't know. I want to see it. I cannot wait to see where all this goes. So, I'm going to leave this video off here. If you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself, if you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. You know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!